So Joseph Guerrero, shout out to him. He commented on my video asking if we could get some information on MP BOLC, which is what I attended. And I've been thinking about doing this video for a while, so this prompt just made it easy for me to jump into it. This is my worst experience in the military, MP BOLC. Now, I never deployed or I've never been to a combat zone. Some keyboard warrior veterans out there might just be typing frantically. But to be honest, I don't really care what anyone thinks. You know, this is my story from my point of view and my experience. Many of my classmates had very similar experiences. Other classes did not experience this after talking with other fellow second lieutenants. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, wow, this experience is going to be mine, it's possible, but not probable. This is a very hard topic for me to discuss. This was when I was at my lowest point in life. Very dark days and stuff that I really just try not to think about, to be perfectly honest. Sure, there were good times and I made some great friends along the way, which one of my best friends is the reason why I was able to make it through without losing my mind, that we were able to confide in each other the horrible thoughts and feelings of each day that we had. With that said, the Military Police Basic Officer Leader course is an 18-week long course at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, or Fort Lost in the Woods as people like to call it. I graduated in 2019 and graduated first in my class. I'm only telling you this so that you can take what I am saying as lessons learned and not to make the same mistakes I made. I'm not doing this to be like, look at what I got on my chest, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that. What I care about is maybe informing you on some things that maybe you are looking for MP BOLC. Of course, taking that Army BS shroud away and just giving you what my experience was like. Of course, putting my best foot forward and wanting to perform to the best of my ability is something that I think everybody should strive for and something that I always strive for. However, the amount of pressure that I put on myself through the length of this course was astronomically high. I was so afraid of failing and having to restart the training over again, on top of the combination of our SGLs, or the 2 captains and the 1 NCO that we had, created a horrible environment of anxiety, depression, lack of sleep, constant work, and nights where I was crying myself to sleep. And talking with some of my friends in the course, they were doing the same thing. You see, the captains that were in charge of our class had a situation in their previous class. Students that lived in the hotels, typically National Guard and reservists, would jokingly knock on each other's door and yell, "Military police, open up." Well, one night they were drinking and they got pretty rowdy. The real, actual MPs showed up who were stationed at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and knocked on the door, to which this second lieutenant thought his friends were joking. He kept his door locked and was yelling obscenities at them, and when he finally found out it was the actual MPs, the student barricaded himself in his room until he let them in. Now, this of course brought up to the CG, or the commanding general of the base. It put a stain on MP BOLC, the MP schoolhouse, and the captains who were in charge of that class. Fast forward to my class, which was the same set of instructors, they decided to make our life a living hell, to intentionally not give us enough time to be able to make any mistakes outside of the class like the previous class did. They wanted us so tired that we wouldn't want to leave our rooms. Every day I woke up at 04:30 to make it to formation at 05:15 and get accountability before 05:30. PT, shower, breakfast, and classroom instruction. This would go on essentially until 7 to 9 p.m. at night. Then we would have homework to complete. I would go to bed after the homework was completed and do it all again. For 4 months straight, this was my life. Days changed, of course, if we were going outside of the classroom to execute the different things that we were learning. Of course, MP BOLC is broken down into those 18 weeks, so what do? Well, here's a picture of the things that they cover. Looking at this and looking through it, honestly, everything seems to be pretty similar to when I was there in 2019, especially since this one is from 2020. They may have updated a couple things, because when they get the new major that comes in, the BOLC chief, they like to tweak some things here and there. But you can see week 1 to 18, you have something that is going on each and every single week. What does that mean? It means there's a lot of information that you're going to be covering, and you're going to be drinking from a fire hose the entirety of the course. You're not going to retain everything. Now, if you're looking for this information, you can find it all on the Army's website in a PDF MP BOLC guide to go all over this. This is all open source information. You can get it. I'm not special grabbing this information. And there's so much I could discuss breaking down each and every single one of these weeks. However, I think that I'm going to pick the things that need to be highlighted because of how much you could cover. Now, classroom instruction, test, and continue will be the rinse and repeat of each week. So just be prepared to be taking a lot of exams and to be taking a copious amount of notes for those exams. The exams themselves, not too bad, to be perfectly honest, because they're Army exams. There are some people that will fail them. Everybody in my class was able to pass it on a second time if they did fail it, so the exams aren't too hard. And I'm talking about, no offense to anybody's intelligence, people that seem to be failing things more frequently were still passing the second ones, and maybe they just were bad test takers. I'm just telling you the perception of what I had when I was there, that some of the people that seemed that they weren't doing as good in the course still made it through the course. But these are my biggest tips I have for the weeks listed. The first one is going to be going over the foundation, teamwork, and leadership, which are the first 3 weeks. Basically, what this is going to be is you finding your groove with the entire class. Find your teamwork and work together. I know this is probably a blatant like, oh yeah, everything is work together, teamwork, blah, blah, blah. I'm serious. Listen to this. With any course, you have to work together and it's important, right? However, all brand new second lieutenants are being told that you're going to be in a leadership position post-training creates a lot of difficulty. It is hard to lead your peers. Do not be someone who goes against the grain unless there is something that's going completely wrong and you see a different way to go about that. There's a proper way of going about doing that rather than being an asshole. If you call your fellow classmates out in front of the SGLs, it's going to create a horrible environment and everyone is going to cast you out. We had one student do this and they were ostracized and no one wanted to work with them for anything. And when they got into a leadership position, it was not a good situation for them. You will be holding leadership positions. Class XO, S1, 2, 3, 4, 6, PL, PSG, SL, TL, squad leader, team leader, and different assigned roles that you're going to have as well. You have someone that's going to have to run PT and be in charge of PT, someone that's going to be running the ranges, someone that's in charge of doing all of the AARs and having to brief a mid-course AAR and a end-of-course AAR, which is what I was, the AAR OIC. Running different banquets, conducting different briefs, everything is student-led with this. You will be split into squads and then into teams, and that's how they break a lot of this stuff down when you are running a lot of tactical or even the squad element exercises. And you will be looked at for all of the answers when you are doing these different types of things that you do. You will not know the answers, and that is fine. And rolling with the punches is incredibly important. But my SGLs would make everyone intentionally feel like the biggest piece of shit to ever exist if you didn't know the answer. It would take briefings that should only take maybe an hour, and they would lengthen it out to about 3 hours to make everyone in the room feel intentionally uncomfortable because they didn't know the answers. The motivation they gave us was completely out of fear and not out of wanting to perform better. And this destroyed the class morale very early on, especially mine personally, because I was internalizing a lot of this stuff and it was just not a good environment for me. This is where the prior service men and women are going to shine. You know, if you have experience running ranges, command and staff, training meetings, literally anything, give the help to those around you to make the course run a lot smoother. The knowledge of how and what is needed is incredibly important. Don't keep that information to yourself. Even though it may save you some time, it's going to make the course run a lot smoother and you're going to help a lot of these students out tremendously. Complete side note, if I have any SGLs watching this video, if you are running your course to the point where you are completely motivating students and second lieutenants out of fear and fear alone and not trying to help them want to be a better second lieutenant and a better officer, then you are going to ruin a lot of people's time in the military and wanting to perform. You may be sitting there thinking, oh, well, this person is just saying that they had a bad time, blah, blah, blah. It's one second lieutenant. Well, hey, listen, now I'm making a video talking about how horrible my experience was and how I absolutely hated my time there. When I wish that I could have been enjoying some of the training that I was doing and actually feel like I was performing and wanting to maybe impress the SGLs or maybe wanting to perform to be a better second lieutenant rather than being out of fear, not wanting to mess up. The second week that I'm going to cover is TOOTS. Tactical exercise without troops. I slept for a total of 2 hours the week of TOOTS. A total of 2 hours. Basically, what you do is you get a company level order and you're expected to get all of the pertinent information from the briefing that the SGLs give you from that company level order and break it down to a platoon level order. And then come the next day, you brief that order. If you miss a single thing within that order, you're a no-go. If you miss a single thing during the brief on the second time, you're a second time no-go and you will recycle the class, aka you're starting from day 1. We received our orders around 4 p.m. and would have to have them ready to go the following morning with our terrain models ready to go. You have a micro and a macro terrain model. You didn't know when you were briefing, so you had to have the orders prepared every single day, and every student around is then expected to understand that mission. And they're going to be asked parts of that mission, and if they do not answer any questions correctly or they don't understand the back brief, it means that the mission is unclear and you could be a no-go as well. So for those of you that may just be thinking, I'm going to sit there and just skirt by and not have to pay attention, this is a perfect Blue Falcon situation where if you don't help and you're not listening to your fellow students and second lieutenants, you could screw them over. My best advice is to create an opward shell for yourself before you get to TOOTS to make typing your opward easier. If you do not do this, think about this. You're going to be making that template while writing the opward that you need to brief the following morning. Save that extra time, make the shell, even if it's a pain. Or even better, get a shell from someone you know. Now, MP BOLC and MP Schoolhouse is going to preach, don't plagiarize, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. However, the standard is already set within doctrine on how an opward is. So take the shell if someone has it. Write everything that is pertinent to those briefs, and as the week goes, it will get easier and easier. By the time you hit Thursday or Friday, you're going to realize, oh wow, actually, eventually I am completely fine and understand the stuff that I need to write down and the stuff I don't need to write down from these briefs, and it becomes a lot easier. But that first couple of days is going to suck a lot, so just get ready to embrace that. Third week I'm going to cover is sticks. Sticks is where students lead all of the instruction on tasks they have been assigned to teach. So you're going to be out in the field, and everyone has to meet each condition and met in order to be considered proficient in said task. And it's a week long out in the field, and you will have your trucks out there. You're going to be sleeping in your trucks and going over each student's lesson. This is essentially a big practice run to take everything that you've learned into your FTX or your field training exercise. My best advice is for whoever is in charge of that week, make an SI or a sensitive item checklist or check sheet. Conduct an SI check every morning and night, internally done through each team, and then have the team reported up to the squad leader up to the PL. This is the best way to make sure nothing is lost, because we had an officer lose a pair of NVGs, which were found, but the games that were played after that was miserable. Now, FTX, taking everything you've learned from sticks and applying it is the goal. However, each student is now expected to lead a mission as either a PL or a platoon sergeant. So you're going to have a PL platoon sergeant pair on these missions. Each mission is different, and you don't quite know when or what the mission will be until the SGLs select you. Just give you a quick example. My mission was a mortar team was found, and the previous mission got absolutely obliterated, and they lost a bunch of people on the mission. So I had to take all of the people that were still alive from the previous mission, make quick squads, have them go out, and I just broke everything down very simplistically. Your squad leader, your squad leader, your team leader, these people in my truck, let's go. So as soon as I get into the truck, I'm grabbing the mic and I'm trying to call to the lead truck to lead out. What I didn't know at the time until I found out later is that one of the SGLs had a man pack on him and was holding the microphone down so that we had no comms the entire time. So I had to get out, sprint up to the front truck, and I said, let's go, and then we rolled out. As soon as we get there, I let my truck sit as a support by fire. I then took a dismounted unit, and we moved through the woods as assaulting through the objective, basically very similar to OCS where you have support by fire and then a unit that is or a team that is going to assault through the objective. What is important about this? Keep things simple on your mission. Less moving parts, less complexity, the better. It makes things easy to understand, especially when you're briefing to people in a time crunch especially. Base it off of the things you know and are comfortable with. So the OCS guys and gals, utilize what you did at sticks there. That's what I did, and the captain who graded me said I did a great job considering the time crunch I had. We also did it with the Marine Corps, and they have different types of terminology and different things that we go over, so that helped a lot in just keeping things simple as well. Lastly, the entirety of the course, what are some things that lessons learned and things that I wish I would have known? I wish I wouldn't have taken things so seriously. You know, I said this in many other videos, but I was so uptight and nervous about everything. I was scared to recycle and have to redo training. I was nervous to fail. I had lots of feedback and was humiliated multiple times on my briefings, which helped me grow, yes. However, this is the place to make mistakes and to learn from them when you're in training. It is a pain. It is going to be hard and tedious at times. However, making mistakes helps that growth continue, and make sure you never make that same mistake twice. Rely on those around you. And if it weren't for my friends in the course, and if I kept all my emotions I was feeling bottled up inside, I would have been a goner. And I'm not even exaggerating. Talk with your classmates and friends. They're experiencing the exact same thing you are. There is no shame in feeling the way that you are. You may find that they are feeling the exact same way. Your SGLs will make or break your experience. Unfortunately for me, they broke my experience. I still have nightmares of my time when I was there, which is sad. I think that it could have been a better experience. However, the friends I kept from the training, due to its severity and difficulty, created a really tight bond. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful. And for that reason alone, I wouldn't change anything. To my classmates who may watch this video, you all did so much for me. There were many of you, especially in 3rd Squad, who really kept each other going, even when the times were really tough. I would never go back and do it again, but at the same time, I'm so glad that I did it and that I made it through the course, because at the end of the day, I met some fantastic people. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope this video helps you out if you are heading to MP BOLC. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'll try to get to them. This stuff is still relatively fresh in my mind as 2019, just a couple years ago, so not too bad, but please let me know what you have. I stream on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sundays, typically 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Fridays more of a day stream. If you want to tune in, be sure to do that. Twitch.tv/SergeantMadmax. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next video. Thanks, everybody.